Hello there, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another RebelScum.com video. And today I am here at the Asmodee booth at Star Wars Celebration 2022 in Anaheim, California. And I'm joined by the lovely Simone and her counterpart, the rugged Dallas.
Oh, I like.
Wow.
You got
You're
rugged.
the pretty princess, and I'm the much more rugged one.
My official title is the prettiest princess.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Is that?
Oh.
Is that canon? Is that Asmodee canon?
That is Atomic Mass Games canon, yes.
Yeah. Atomic Mass Cannon.
Oh man, does trump
Can you
everything,
imagine
doesn't
Atomic
it?
Mass Cannon? Just like.
Yeah.
I do. I see them all the time on Legion miniatures.
Yeah.
In fact, they're very impressive when I want to build like a rotary cannon clone troop and a rocket launcher clone troop, or if I really want to conquer in the realm of Legion. Rogers, Rogers are the best. There's no disputing it. They're the greatest. They do what they're supposed to do. They do it with cheer. Love the Rogers. But since we're already talking about Legion, we got a nice little I think reveal, right? You guys talked about this in your panel yesterday. So officially coming to Legion now is
Ewoks. So many Ewoks. The most Ewoks.
All of the Ewoks.
Literally all of them.
So we got what looks like an Ewok charging into battle here. We got this guy who's picking up sticks and things. We got Low Gray. That's obviously Low Gray. Little Wicket here. This guy's sounding the alarm. He's getting them set up for battle. So what's going on in Legion right now? Ewoks.
What's going to go on with Ewoks is they're going to set a lot of traps for you. Maybe they should not sound an alarm when they're setting a trap. That does seem a little counterproductive, but I think they figured it out.
I mean, that's how powerful they are.
Oh,
like
that's
they're like
Dallas Camp.
They're like,
we
you're gonna
set this trap.
Yeah.
But why don't you
there's
come
a
here?
trap, but where is the trap?
We kind of teased these a while ago, and we're so happy to actually have them live in person in our display case here at Star Wars Celebration.
So tell us a little bit about Legion. What's the gameplay of Legion like in comparison to some of the other games you guys produce at Atomic Mass Games?
So if you were looking kind of for a mass battle, you want to have dozens of things out on the table all at once, Legion is the game for you. It is much more unit driven. You've definitely got characters and leaders, but it's all about kind of that long strategic game, as opposed to X-Wing, which is kind of quick dogfight situation.
So when coming up with a game that has all these known and awesome troopers and other things, how did Ewoks factor into this?
Have you seen Ewoks? Have you seen how cute they are?
Yeah, but does cuteness win wars?
I think
you've seen Return of the Jedi, correct?
At least once, I think.
We need to go to the historical documents.
Yeah. I mean, yes, Ewoks are something that the community have wanted for a long time, and we are finally in a place where, yes, Ewoks totally make sense, and I'm super excited to see how the community plays with them and lives out their best Return of the Jedi dreams, which include winning wars.
I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. Well, as long as we get Gungans at some point, I guess I'll be happy with the Ewoks, especially Jar Jar. Especially Jar Jar. Come on, Jar Jar and Legion. Comment Jar Jar and Legion. So these ones are your prototypes, and they are beautifully painted. This is just one of the many examples you can do with your miniatures in Legion. So they come unpainted but ready to paint, and I've seen so many creative things over the years. Have you seen some of the crazy things some of these guys do where they put working lights in the lightsabers?
Yes, all of that stuff that people do to mod their stuff is absolutely amazing. And the different variants and versions, we have to keep ourselves pretty standard, but looking at all the stuff that people do, though sometimes one Dallas Kemp gets a little crazy on the live stream. We do live stream twice a week, and Dallas sometimes will paint things in different colors. You might expect some fun with the Ewoks at Mini Stravaganza.
I mean, that's the joy of the hobby miniature game, right? It's not only do you get to play the game with your friends and tell a story, you get to tell your story, right? You get to get the miniature put together, spend time with it, with your hobby, to relax, but also just put your twist on it, right? Maybe my Ewoks are all, snow Ewoks, right? Hoth Ewoks. Why not, right? It's your story, it's your game. you get to be part of the Star Wars universe, and our games allow you to be part of it in that way.
So talking about being fans and being a part of the Star Wars universe, what brought you guys into the Star Wars universe, and how does that help you in your job at Atomic Mass Games today? Obviously, working on Star Wars products, it's good to be a fan, but what brought you into Star Wars?
This is great because Dallas and I are pretty much have the same first answer. We are approximately the same age, and were brought to A New Hope by our parents before we were, not our parents, collectively separate parents.
Sister from another mister.
When we were just babies. So I have been a Star Wars fan from the time I could crawl and understand what Star Wars was. And then how that has affected my entire career has been built on my obsessive Star Wars detail. I used to do all of the licensing for all of Asmodee. And then about a year and a half ago, came over to Atomic Mass to head this fine team to focus entirely on miniatures.
Well, speaking of miniatures, let's shift on over to another big fan favorite game you guys cover, X-Wing, the Starfighter version of, well, not really the Starfighter version of Legion, but the Starfighter tabletop game that has been going on for a good amount of years now. But you guys have really taken X-Wing to the next level with all kinds of awesome new design elements, especially with re-releases and paint jobs that so many fans have wanted paint jobs on some of our ships. Like, for example, our Celebration 2022 exclusive, the Ahsoka Aethersprite. Now, while we never saw her fly in a Delta-7, but rather a Delta-7B, it's beautiful to see that color scheme just work out on the Delta-7. You got R7 there on the side, and we'll be reviewing this in another video, so stay tuned for that.
Focus in on that. So, speaking of the design process here, we went through a lot of work with our factory, and they were actually able to get those little dots, those little hexagons around that droid.
That's the most detailed droid on any ship.
It's one of the most detailed things we've ever been able to produce, and it was a lot of fun working on this product and working with the factory to get that. So
how did you guys come up with Ahsoka? Were you just sitting around a table at Atomic Mass Games like, okay, Celebration's coming up, we want to do a really cool
Go on, Dallas.
paint ship variant? Which ship what came down to the ship you picked and the design you went with for that ship?
I mean, it was literally just like that, right? It's like, Star Wars Celebration, what are we doing? Idea. Ahsoka Starship? Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
So what were some of maybe the other ideas that just didn't make the cut? Like, was there maybe another Jedi Starfighter, or?
No, once anyone said Ahsoka, it was Ahsoka.
Oh, okay. Well, so it sounds like it was a pretty easy decision then.
Yeah.
So, how did the design process go for translating Delta-7B paint job over to Delta-7 Aethersprite?
So how we start with this is I took an existing Delta-7 and I just reprimed it and repainted it to test it out, right? Because you gotta do a hand painted test on it first. Getting this design on this geometry is pretty tricky, especially that super fine detail of the yellow lines there. You can lift it up. And the wing pattern. So I did one hand painted test just off reference. It was a little not quite. So I actually brought in Preston, our art director, and he did a cool layover with some an orthographic. And then I used that as a guide for the second paint master. And then that's what you use to like create your, what the factory uses to actually create the thing. So it's a long process of like actually hand painting a ship in that scheme.
All right. So I got a few more questions for you guys before we wrap up.
Those ships do exist.
That wasn't one of them, but thank you. No, my next question is, what is your favorite game to play that you guys produce or have worked on?
Ooh, that we produce? I just like to paint things. That is my biggest. I've had a lot of fun painting for Legion. I have like a gold tooth dewback that I'm very excited about. Everything that I paint is gold, hot pink, and purple. Maybe a little teal. So that's my style. What about you?
I don't do favorites.
Oh, you don't
even-
pick your favorite children?
I don't, not at all. No, I don't do favorites.
That's not true. Everybody who says they don't do favorites have specific favorites in mind.
I only have one, so it's
Well, it's your favorite, right?
exactly. So it's just like favorite songs, right? Like it depends on my mood and stuff like that. But I'm a very heavy hobbyist. I started everything out, like my whole career path has been through hobby. Everything I am and everything where I've gone is through hobby, and just painting little monsters and little creatures and little things. And so I love the exploration of all those, even through the pre-painted plastic of X-Wing, doing my own Scum and Villainy like designs, to like my Clone Force, which is the Lucky 13s, completely made up Clone Force, it's my own thing. And then, even just taking a Darth Vader and just making the coolest Darth Vader I can paint, right?
Okay.
Hey, Kelvin asked, when you design these figures, I noticed that you're making them more dynamic and they're not just static figures just in there. Is that something that you make a point to do when you're designing these things, or is it just
There is a whole process of a lot of Dallas. Would you do a pose for us, Dallas? How you pose as an like? There's a lot of this
Like,
in the
what
office.
What if he's doing this? No, he's, no, hang on. This, wait, contrapasta. Yeah, you gotta turn like that. There's a lot of like props that are used. There are a lot of chairs being used, and like philosophically,
A lot of rulers or for spears.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it's really interesting. Like miniatures have come a long way since the 80s and 90s, right? And single part metal miniatures. We work in hard plastic, and there's a lot of there's pros and cons to every single material. And one of the pros of hard plastic is that you can be more dynamic and you can have like more intricate and interesting connection points. And we want to always make sure that we can utilize and leverage that material to the best of our ability, and not just tell, a story of like, we want to tell a story, and we know, and every one of these is a potential. Say let's do our Hoth, our Hoth Ewoks, right? You don't need to use that little log, cut that off. You're a hobbyist. Like everybody's got a little hobby in them. With a little practice, you can do anything. Everything is potential. This is just the starting point for you as the storyteller of your game. So you can nick that little log off, sculpt a little rock, put a little snow around him. Now you got your Hoth Ewok, right? So we want to provide a story instead of just there's an Ewok, there's an Ewok, here's an Ewok.
Yeah. And so
Do Ewoks do this?
of course they do. So each individual Ewok here probably had 5 sketches that Dallas sent to me, Wilczek, our director of product development. Like, how does this Ewok feel?
Yeah, tell me your feelings.
And we literally just have to be like, well, I like how this one feels, but not this one. I like the arms of this one. And then Dallas and the sculpting team just magically make this.
Those are my favorite ones when you guys are like, well, he's doing this, but what if he was doing this? And I really hate this one. And I just take the legs of the one they don't like, and I put on the torso of the one they do like, and they're like, that's the one. I'm like, I read what you wanted. I read what you wanted.
So,
Lasso tool.
right.
cut and paste?
All right. So, still talking about favorites.
Yeah.
Let's narrow it down a little bit. All right, let's talk about X-Wing. What is your favorite ship in the X-Wing game? Doesn't have to be one you worked on, but playable right now. What is your favorite ship?
The Delta-7.
Yeah,
It does not have to be the Delta-7.
I would say it's this Aethersprite Delta-7. No, I am super fond of Dengar. I love Dengar, and the Punishing One is such a ridiculous design, but the Houndstooth is my favorite ship
I know.
in Star Wars.
I know.
My partner was just like, is that, did you put that on the base wrong? I'm like, no, that's just what it's designed. She's like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I know, I love it. I love that ship.
Emma, what about you?
The Ghost, 100%. The
the Ghost.
amount of love and effort and getting all of those different squares of color and doing that, like, I will never stop just loving the Ghost.
Well, that and when you guys redid it for second edition, it was just so much better. I mean, it was already a great ship model to begin with, but making the Phantom 2 dockable to it, a removable
and, like,
separate
little,
model.
Like, the detail on the Phantom 2 is amazing for so long ago and for such a small ship. Like, we have come so far in being able to do that detail, but even from back then, I just thought the Phantom 2 was amazing looking.
I'm gonna have to say, mine's the Defender. Love the TIE Defender. Greatest ship ever made by the greatest mind in Star Wars, Grand Admiral Thrawn. But mine's the Defender. And yours?
I'm old-fashioned. The T-65 will always be my favorite.
You're classic.
I'm classic. Just growing up, just all the classic characters. Luke, Wedge is my boy.
Yeah.
He's the one I've always fly. Thane is big in our community, but I'm always flying Biggs and a bunch of other people. It's just, it's iconic. When you see the ships that you grew up with on the table, and you get to beat a few people when you're playing them. But I'm warming up to the Delta. I'm loving this Ahsoka. I cannot wait to get home and put it on the table, and the paint job is just amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
super proud about that paint job. I mean, like, that's my baby. I don't talk about it in the office, but I have a lot of heart in that little spaceship. I have a couple failed attempts at painting that spaceship and a lot of revisions. And
But that's how we got here.
Well, I mean, and
That's hobbying. Yeah.
That's hobbying. Painting miniatures is the fine art of correcting one's mistakes. And that's a philosophy that you can carry through life, of course. Everything I do is philosophy about how you go through life. Everything. It probably drives you crazy sometimes. But, like, even just the philosophy of the studio, right? It's like, you have an idea and you execute it. And you execute it to the best of your abilities. And Marco, my sculpting director, me and him are, like, immediately, like, before the project's even done, we're just like, ugh. We could have done so much more now, right? Because, like, the lessons, you're constantly learning lessons. And to me, that's, like, the super most important part of, like, the creative process is, the big thing I've been talking about. I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Failing is not failure. Failing to learn from that's the failure, right? So, like, we like to push, we like to try new stuff. And that's just the philosophy of Atomic Mass. So
And that's just not in our paint jobs and hobbying and sculpts. That is in our game design and development. And
graphic
our
design.
Marketing strategy and our business plans.
And photography.
And photography, like the stuff that Matt has been doing
amazing.
Is amazing. He's doing so much more Legion photography now, and I'm so excited to have you all see that in the future.
Oh, some Star Wars pictures and literally little tears in my eyes. I'm just like, oh, that looks so beautiful.
All right, so Simone, I got one more question for you before we're done for the day. Are you gonna paint every Ewok that you've seen that's seen on screen in Star Wars, including the cartoons?
I am gonna paint them pink, purple, and gold.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Guys, right. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to rebelscum.com on our YouTube channel here. That way you don't miss when awesome interviews like this one. In case you missed these guys at Star Wars Celebration 2022, maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to catch them at the next Star Wars Celebration. And who knows, maybe they'll have a special new X-Wing miniature ship available for that convention. Maybe they'll have a special purple and gold Ewok miniature available for that convention.
Just display mine. It'll be great.
There you go.
Right. Put that one in our pocket.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a gold Ewok as
A gold Ewok? Oh, the gold Ewok. There you go. You get a tour of the Ewok factory. Stay tuned for all that, guys. Stay tuned for more Asmodee. As I understand it, y'all have an online event coming up very soon.
Yes, it is Mini Extravaganza. We are streaming for 12 hours a day for 3 days straight, June 9th through 11th at twitch.com/AtomicMassGames.
So there you go. Check that out, guys, when that event goes live.
And if you like T65s, you should definitely watch one of my streams on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Every day my boss hates me, but every time I've got my work up and I got the Twitch stream going right there, and I'm just like, I'm supposed to be working. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Stay tuned for all that. Make sure you check them out at the booth if you're still here at the con. And We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. May the force be with all of you, you rebel scum.